Yeah.
If I think about 3 or 4 times every decade, it's nice to be reassured that humans will still be necessary. So that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, the apprenticeship system is just I mean, there's a reason why that lasted a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's well known that, you know, experts do not know. It's called tacit knowledge. Experts actually don't know what their expertise is. One of the problems people had in the 60s and 70s, 80s when they were trying to build expert systems was they would sit alongside, the person building the system would sit alongside an expert, and it would be incredibly difficult getting the expert to say, why did you make that choice? And in fact, what happened was interesting, was when they'd gone through that process, the engineer would go away and build the expert system, which did sort of okay, but that engineer had actually become an expert in that discipline because they'd been an apprentice. You pick up all of the clues and you learn to do it. Incidentally, I will give a clue for some of the people who are taking my new course. I'm starting to inject some of that into the new course. I'm trying to get some sense of being an apprentice in the new course. In that one of the things I'm doing is I'm giving them work to do where they have to grade exams, or to grade mathematics. In other words, and this is not just to say, is the answer right or wrong, but how good of an answer is it? How good of a piece of reasoning is it? Because my course is not about really getting out right or wrong answers. It's about solving problems in certain ways. And one of the ways you can learn about that is watching how an expert solves a problem. Well, what I'm doing is I'm giving them a solved problem. I'm giving them a rubric by which they can use to grade it. Say, look for this point, this point, this point. Assign a grade and enter your grade, and the computer will grade your grading. But then I'm recording videos where I show them how I grade it. So I get them to grade it, and then I say, here's how I grade it. And I'm hoping, and it's a hope at this stage, that when they've seen me do that for several weeks and said, this is a silly mistake, that's a good mistake, that's an important mistake, that's worth, maybe I'll just dock 2 points for that, I'll dock 5 points for that. Seeing enough of those, I'm hoping that they'll get a general sense of what it takes to write one of those things for themselves, because they'll have seen the consumer end. And when a student's writing an exercise, I'm the consumer.
Right.
They're the producer. And so I want them to see how I react as a consumer to what they've produced. And hopefully, I mean, maybe 3 or 4 weeks isn't enough, but it's all we've got time for. But I'm hoping that that activity will be something like this apprenticeship scheme, where they'll get some sense of the kind of judgments experts make.
And it's possible that some of them have never had that kind of experience before. I mean, I remember only one time in my experience as a student did I have a teacher, this was an English teacher in an English class, but I think grading an essay is in some ways very similar to grading a proof.
Yeah.
He showed us an essay that he had written and then had us grade it, and then he kind of walked through his process of how he would grade an essay. And I still, I mean, it was one of the most transformative moments for me as a student in my entire life as a student. And I think that kind of experience, like, for some reason we don't process that as being potentially really useful for students. But like when I'm teaching writing, I try to do that, and I think it's going to be, my sense is that, my intuition is that it's going to be a really big deal in this course.